Think of the 2017 version of Prey as Dishonored 2 in space, with a handful of BioShock smarts thrown in for good measure. Interested? Well, you really should be. Recently, several members of the GR team were invited to play the opening hour of the game, and even in this relatively straightforward slice, the options available are impressive. So, in order to demonstrate that, I shall be taking the role of Lucas, who played it in, let's say, the normal way, and Andy here, say hello Andy.
Hello.
Will be playing it the Andy way.
I am playing the role of Andy.
Good. So first, you wake up, and most people will take in this gorgeous view, poke around the work desk, read selections of neuroscience literature, and pocket bits of machinery before raiding the fridge, accidentally drinking the wine on the counter, and heading off to the waiting helicopter. But, Andy?
Yeah, I didn't do that. So I woke up and immediately drank the wine. If my vision went all blurry for a little bit, and then I decided to see how much I could fit in the toilet, and that was quite a lot. Like I picked up the coffee machine and chucked it in there, and all the other little bits. I threw a few mugs around. I eventually decided to put on my clothes, which was much to the relief of everyone. Opened the door, and there was a maintenance worker outside, and she greeted me with a wonderfully cheery "Good morning." So I went back into my apartment and found a bottle and threw it at her. And then I decided enough's enough, and I went to catch the helicopter to work. There's a beautiful sequence where you get in the helicopter. I mean, I got in after trying to jump off the roof, and I couldn't for various reasons. There's a beautiful sequence where you ride across the San Francisco skyline, and like there's some searing music playing. It's gorgeous, and I felt a lot better about myself after that, and the wine.
And that was enough to distract you from throwing everything around everywhere?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was nothing in the helicopter to throw.
Great. All right, well, let's move on to the testing. Now, sensible Lucas had a quick chat with a hovering science operator drone who reassured him that everything would be fine until later blurting out that all their safety things meet the minimum requirements, which is a bit strange. But then onto the tests themselves were actually quite simple enough, although somewhat confusing when they ask you to hide behind a tiny chair in an otherwise empty room. But the final part involves a survey, which starts with mundane questions and quickly veers into impossible ethics questions like this. And then the main administrator's coffee cup suddenly burst into a black mess of tendrils wrapping around his head and sucking the life out of him until only a mummified-looking husk remained. I can't see that being much different from your experience, though.
Well, you say that. I bollocksed off the droid. I couldn't be bothered speaking to him. He was clearly just a narrative device. So I eventually went and spoke to my brother, Alex Yu, and he told me, thanks for coming in. So I ran into the test chamber, and the tests were a bit weird. Like I had to pick up a few boxes and put them down. I had to hide behind the chair, and I thought, well, these tests are suspiciously easy. So I made sure I took the chair into all the other rooms with me and hid behind it.
Good.
Which was great, even though I didn't need to. And then, the ethics questions, I didn't find them particularly difficult. I mean, if a fat man if I could push a fat man in front of a train to stop it, then I would.
Of course
but it
you
just
would.
makes sense. I mean, I can't bear, to miss a train. So anything that gives me an advantage would be great. Funnily enough, the scientists didn't seem particularly shocked, no matter what I told them. So I didn't seem particularly shocked when their coffee cup morphed into a horrible space beast and ate his face off.
Right. So the ending was the same.
Yeah.
Maybe you just had a chair with you.
Yeah, I did. I love that chair.
Okay. So after the tendril monster appears, the room fills with gas and you pass out. But then, luckily, we wake up again. Now, Lucas, being back in the apartment, awaking to the same day, ran into the bathroom to see if anything was amiss, but there's no reflective surface on the mirrors, which means the cinematic trailer is just for show. But that's fine. And then he went through the door in the hallway, and it was clear that something has gone very wrong. The technician is now a corpse on the ground, so he looted her body for supplies before picking up her nearby wrench for self-defense. What did you do?
Oh, well, I woke up again, because that's part of the game. I went for the wine again, just to see if it tasted any different, and it didn't. I went into the corridor as well. I got dressed, went into the corridor and saw the dead technician, and I looted her corpse as well. So we did very much the same thing. I dragged her body inside to see if there was anything I could do with it.
But that's not the same thing.
No, it's probably not the same. I just sort of left her in the shower, and I went and checked my emails and had a cup of coffee and just chilled out a little bit. I had loads of emails from the same person telling me to escape. But, you know, I was in no hurry.
Right.
Eventually I did escape. I smashed the window of my balcony and found out that, well, shit, I was actually in a testing chamber and I'm not in San Francisco at all, which was a bit weird. And then I went and found out what was happening. You know, there's loads of people. Well, there were loads of people watching you, because you can see signs up that says, you know, don't talk while the subject's in the test chamber and things like that. They'd left booze behind, so I drank all that as well. I just felt really good about myself. So that's how that particular sequence ended.
Okay, so we've smashed the glass, which is one of Prey's biggest sort of twists in the first opening hour, that actually you're in a cage yourself and you've been being monitored this whole time.
I mean, I don't want to sound too nonplussed. I was genuinely quite surprised by that twist, and I thought it was brilliant. But my priorities were maybe different to Lucas's.
Yeah, yours was booze.
Yes.
Lucas's was, wow, this is quite an amazing revelation I've just had. Okay, so you get out the cage, and then you meet the Typhons. Now, as a sensible player, Lucas was introduced to having to kill some mimics, which are the first sort of bits of these creatures that you encounter. He first saw it. It can basically take on any form. So he first saw it taking the form of a pizza box and then smashed it with his wrench, which is the sensible thing to do. Mm-hmm. But you were more interested in picking things up again.
Yeah. I was picking stuff up. I mean, I tried to pick up another chair, but one of them was a mimic, so I had to kill it with my wrench. But it wasn't too much of a big deal. I found loads of food, like half-eaten apples and stuff, which is great, and health kits, and just picking stuff up. I was smashing mugs just to see if I could, just testing to see if any of them were mimics.
Right.
I came across the first puzzle here, which is you have to get past a locked door, and there's a key card, which is handily sat on the controller's desk.
Now this is the way Lucas went.
Yeah.
He went and picked up the key card because it's not very far away from the area where the locked door is.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to find.
Yeah. So he just picked it up, went through the door, easy.
Yeah, I mean, that was way too easy for me, and I thought it was going to be a trap because it's really easy. So what I did is I found the key card, pocketed it, but then I looked for a vent, which I found handily above a bookcase in someone's office. So I climbed onto the bookcase, went through the vent, dropped down the other side, and then used the key card to open the door from the other side, and went back just to check. Just to check that, yes, I'd come from the same area. But there's, you know, all joking aside, two different ways to get through that door. It's a very, very simple example of the multi-layered puzzles in Prey.
So once you do that puzzle, then you find something called a neuromod, which is basically BioShock's plasmids. We're going to boil it down to a mechanic people might understand, which you plug into your eye and then gives you basically upgradable powers, right?
Yep.
So Lucas used it to upgrade his hacking abilities, which meant that he could then get into more rooms and solve more puzzles by just going into locked doors. Mm-hmm. Did you do the same thing?
I did not. No, I used it to upgrade my strength so I could pick up bigger things.
And throw them around.
Throw them around.
Perfect.
There is a sort of a combat element to this, in that you can pick up objects and throw them at creatures, which I did more towards the end of it because I was too busy trying to hit them with my wrench or shoot them with the shotgun that I found later on, or the glue gun, which we're getting to actually. The glue gun is the thing that I find next. This is pretty standard. Me and Lucas found it in exactly the same way. A glue gun it's an abbreviation, like a fancy name, but it does fire glue, so I mean it's pretty obvious what it does. You fire glue, it petrifies an enemy, and then you can go up and whack them with your wrench, which conveniently, once you pick up the glue gun, a few mimics come around the corner, so I glued them up, smashed them with my wrench. Felt good. I looted their bodies, chucked bits of them around. It was great.
Brilliant. Well, the next bit of the demo tasks you with heading to the offices on what we now know is the space station.
You have to find your own office, which is confusing because you didn't know you worked there.
So Lucas travelled to the office. On the way, encountered some phantoms, which are the more humanoid sort of monsters that we've encountered so far. And obviously the door's locked because, video games. So, but this was a perfect opportunity for him to use his recently upgraded hacking skills. So, hacked his way in, accessed the receptionist email account via the minigame, and located the door code. Just popped it in the door, into the office. Super simple.
It's too easy, that.
It's not a trick, it's just easy.
No, it was too easy and it was clearly a trap. So what I did is I explored the Talos lobby as well. I had a quick look around to see if there was anything I could steal or smash. There was quite a lot to see. I went into the IT server room and I found a whole bunch of phantoms in there. I used up all my shotgun ammo and my glue gun ammo trying to kill them. Well, no, most of my glue gun ammo, because once I'd been in the IT office, I noticed that when I was on the stairwell outside, my office was just on the other side of the building. I couldn't jump the gap in between the stairs and the office, so what I decided to do was build a bridge out of glue using my glue gun.
Smart.
Yeah. So I used that, and I thought, well, this will either support my weight, or I'll jump onto it and I'll fall through and break both my legs. But luckily it did support my weight, and I walked over to the office, smashed the window outside, and climbed straight in. Didn't have to mess around with any door codes or anything like that. It was clearly the way you were supposed to do it.
Break everything
Yes,
and
correct.
get in that way.
Yes.
And that's basically once you, in your office, you get a message from yourself, which is another confusing element, but it will all become clear, sure, as the game progresses. And that's basically the end of the story section of the demo. Afterwards, you get to explore the lobby a bit more, and you can find these machines called recyclers, which basically you throw your unwanted stuff into, and it pops out raw materials at the other end. So you did a bit of that as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was laughing here because I've been picking up everything along the way. I mean, the stuff I didn't throw. So I popped it all into the recycler, got a few other materials out, and made myself some glue gun ammo. So then I could go back down, and there were a few other rooms which still had mimics in, which I could then glue up and smash with my wrench. And I went and explored the toilets, things like that. You know, the stuff that you do in games, like. Everyone in games, if there's some toilets, they go and explore them.
And interestingly, the toilets, you weren't allowed into the female toilets because you had chosen the male option.
Male Morgan Yu, yes. And Lucas had chosen female Morgan Yu, but he said that the female toilets were still blocked up.
What?
Yeah,
what was going on there?
So had he needed to go to the toilet, had his character needed to go to the toilet, they would have been unable to do so, or would have had to go to the gents, which would have been socially very embarrassing.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, there you have it. That's the same hour of gameplay from two different perspectives. Let us know which path you'll be taking in the comments below. Click on the boxes to the left for more content from us, and don't forget to click that big button in the middle to subscribe for more gaming news, reviews, previews, and features right here on Games Radar Plus.